Yeah, well, not even that. Just I hope he doesn't blow your eardrums out.
I'll mute him. How about that?
There you go.
Oh, that'll work. Yeah, we don't
Just
need
read
me
his-
in this podcast. I'm just
Just
here as
read
an
his lips.
observer.
Yeah, read his lips. That's all you need to do.
Hello, everybody. We are here for episode 24, the big 24 of Game Wild. And we are here also joined by, obviously, Ruffhouse Plays is by my side as usual. Normally, he's the one that's actually introducing this podcast, but I am today because we have a special guest in Jordan. Let me see if I get this right. Leithart, is that right?
No, you got both of them. You got both of them wrong, actually.
Oh God! All right, what is it? How do I do it?
So first name is pronounced actually Jordan. If you think of it with an E
Jordan.
And an I.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's an old family name. My mom would kick my ass if I'd said it any other way. And when I actually worked in the games industry out in California for a bit, they had known me online, so they all called me Jordan for a year and a half until I randomly told one of them Jordan, and he trolled individual people throughout the entire office. And I would get one person a week coming up and be like, "Is it actually Jordan?" Yeah.
I can see how somebody would think that somebody.
Oh,
was trolling
yeah.
For that
Oh,
name,
yeah.
so,
Yeah.
sure. That's pretty good. And what about the last name?
Last name is Leithart. It's German.
Leithart. Wow. So we just butchered the whole thing. We were totally wrong, Joe. It
Yeah.
happens. Sorry about
Well,
that.
we tried to prepare for it, but I obviously
So what's going
No, it's
on,
all
man?
right.
How you doing? How are things going?
Good.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy world since PAX. Just as it thought that COVID was tuning down, the protests started happening, and
Yep.
I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like my firstborn was born November last year.
Congratulations.
So I'm
Congrats. Yeah.
basically working from home, taking care of her. So I wasn't going out anyway. So COVID didn't affect me
Right.
too much. But it's just been crazy seeing everything happen. So
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. And I know you mentioned PAX.
Yeah.
So for all you listeners out there, we did actually apparently meet him at PAX. We were trying to figure out if he was one of the people that we met at PAX. So
Well, we were so focused. Well, we were so focused on the game while we were playing it, and someone was behind us trying to show us how to play, and we were just like sucking at it so bad.
Yeah. It was pretty bad. But that's the
yeah.
point, though, right? You want us focused
Yes,
on the game,
learn.
not you, right?
yeah,
So-
yeah. I
So-
do not want to be the face for this.
So yes, we met you at PAX at the Orb Rivals booth, and that is actually a segue right now into the question of the week. So every single week we have a question of the week, and this week it's kind of just going to encompass the whole podcast. And that question is basically, what is Orb Rivals? So let's get started first. I do want to ask you a little bit more about your background, but before we get into all that, what is Orb Rivals in your words?
Orb Rivals is a cross between hockey and football. A lot of people said rugby. You're playing it on robots with jetpacks on their boots. It's an arena physics-based competitive sports game is really what it is. And we take things from rugby and football combined with hockey to kind of generate we hope for a fast-paced, team-oriented competitive game. That's what we're looking for. So it has very much a Rocket League vibe. The creator played probably 1,500 hours of Rocket League before he started working on it.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know what level he got up to, but he was. I don't know if he got up. Is it Grandmaster is the top one?
I think. Yeah, I believe so. I'm
So I think
platinum in that game right now.
I think it was one below Grandmaster.
Okay.
Wow.
Very familiar with. I love Rocket League.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why me and Joe meandered on over towards the booth, because I was like, wow, this looks like Rocket League.
Yep.
So it's cool to actually hear you say too that it is that the creator himself did focus a lot on Rocket League before making the game.
Yeah, the inspiration from it came from a mod for Tribes back in, I think, 1999 was when it happened, called Tribes Football, which is pretty much the core game loop is based off of that. And then after playing, David Talley is the creator, Stalefish in our Discord. He, after playing Rocket League as much as he did, and he's always wanted to make this game, he said, okay, what things can I implement from Rocket League into Tribes Football to make it accessible, because Tribes Football was not accessible. Relatively, like, easier to learn, so that you can pick it up quickly. And then he just started creating it about 3 years ago, all on his own. And yeah, PAX was the first time we showed it to anyone outside of friends and family.
Now, I looked up Tribes too, and Joe, you took a look at Tribes on.
Yeah.
What did you think
on
of
YouTube.
that, Joe?
Yeah, it was pretty cool, interesting. I can see how it derived from there. It looked like they had like the the guns and stuff. They were firing something out of there to try to score it. Very similar to what Orb's Rivals looks like, obviously with up to date graphics, really, and with a better viewpoint too. It was first person. It looked like for Tribes football.
Yes. Yep.
So this is more of a third person game, and it's 3-on-3, correct?
That is our current league is set up as 3v3. I think we're going to allow for 2v2, 3v3, 4v4. I'd like to bump it up to 5v5 because I just love the chaos of it. But I have not convinced Stalefish to do it yet. So
God, yeah.
I think the map is a little small for that.
I was just going to say the map size, because I know in Rocket League anyways, it's 3v3 is like the main competitive one. And there is a 4v4, but everybody just thinks it's a complete shit show most of the time whenever you get into a 4v4 match. So, because it's just such a small arena to cram all those people in there. All right, cool. So again, we're going to be answering that question throughout most of this podcast of what is Orb Rivals. We got plenty of questions lined up, but I do want to get into a little bit about you, Jordan. Yeah. So I know we're just officially really meeting you 100% for the first time, figuring out a little bit about you. And I know you sent us an email with a little bit of background about you as well, which is pretty cool. I was talking to Joe about this too. We both like hearing kind of where games started from, where people in the gaming industry started from, whether they even started in video games. A lot of people, stumbled into video games at some point in their career. So, and right now, so you're running the community and social media marketing for Orb Rivals. Is that right?
Yep.
And you mentioned working on the MMO WildStar. So what landed you on Orb Rivals? How did we get here?
How long do we have?
Well, hey, you know what? It's Sunday. I'm just hanging out today, so you take it away, man.
All right.
Oh, by the way, it's Sunday. Happy Father's Day to all.
Happy Father's Day to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And
even
you
though
having a
coming
brand
out
new
Monday.
1-year-old.
Yeah,
absolutely. Happy Father's Day. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
So we can get into how I got to Carbine Studios and worked on WildStar if we want to down the road. But basically, I graduated from college, got a job at Carbine Studios working on the tools team to write the week we launched, which was the worst time for a new engineer to start on any project is the week we launch. So we and I don't know if y'all played WildStar at all or are familiar with it. The goal was to do kind of a throwback to old school MMOs. We had 40-man rating, we had 20-man rating, but definitely bumping it up. Difficult content in terms of group content. I think the raids were some of the hardest raids I've ever seen. I think Mythic on modern World of Warcraft is probably more difficult.
Yeah,
but the coordination required for 40 people in those, I think we had one guild complete it before we had to nerf it.
Wow.
Okay.
So I joined there. That's where I actually met David Talley, Stalefish. I'll just call him Stalefish from now on.
That's fine.
And he was on the server team. We played volleyball together. Just kind of hanging out. Really, what nailed it down was I went to the launch party, and my wife and his wife hit it off. And since we're new to the area,
that's definitely a friendship.
I like Dave, but he's more of the strong silent type, I would say. So it was a great opportunity for my wife to meet some people that I was working with, and we started hanging out. Fast forward a couple years, Carbine went under. My tech director, my old boss, invited me to come be employee number one at a startup called Frostkeep Studios, where we worked on a survival game called Rend. And I spent about a year working probably about 100-hour weeks just to get that off the ground and right. We actually showed it off at PAX East, was the first time we ever showed that one off too. And Dave, we needed another engineer. So we reached out to Stalefish, who was working for Turtle Rock at the time, to come and work at Frostkeep. Sadly, a couple of months later, I was burnt out. going through some, we'll say, rough times in the marriage, which 100-hour weeks will do, and decided that the marriage was more important. So I quit the games industry, joined my wife and her business, and Stalefish continued doing his thing. About a year later, he quit there and just tried to take Orb Rivals off. Like, he basically quit and said, I'm just going to see this through.
We're going all out.
Yeah. About 3 weeks after that happened, Turtle Rock reached back out to him and said, hey, we'll pay you as much money as you want if you come back. And so he kind of turned Orb Rivals back into a side hustle.
Okay. Gotcha.
So we've been friends for, what is it, 5 years at this point? Mm-hmm. I had just moved. I moved to Tennessee last year, away from Southern California, to cheaper here, slower pace of life. It's just wonderful. I grew up in the South, so this is kind of like coming back home for me.
Yep.
And he reached out to me in September last year and said, hey, I don't like basically, I don't like dealing with the community.
All right. You can be truthful. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Hey, it's
no one's going to watch this, right?
I've had
you
some
can edit
people
that
on my stream. No, yeah, it's fine. I've had some people on my stream sometimes where I'm just like, get the hell out of my chat. Like, who are you? Like, what are you doing here? But I trust me, man. I definitely feel where he's coming from.
Yeah, and I think it's also one of those things where this is his kind of like his baby, like this is something that he created. And when you get negative feedback or you get people telling you, hey, oh, you should do it this way or you should do it that way, I could see how that can kind of burn you a little bit. So having somebody that you trust to come in and manage that for you makes sense. So it makes sense that he would bring you on board to try to manage everyone expectations and what they want.
His goal with it was he actually handles the discussions that we have in the Discord, and if I can plug the Discord at some point afterwards.
Oh yeah,
discord.gg/Orb Rivals. Just come on in, hang out with us. We'll get you a key, whatever you need. But he'll hang out in there, answer questions, take feedback, explain decision making, all that type of thing. What he really needed was basically someone to watch it when he wasn't available. Gotcha. And since I was I was kind of just doing odd jobs in Tennessee at the time, waiting for the daughter to be born, provide an easy opportunity to pull my phone out while I'm watching her, take care of stuff, and basically do all that.
Yeah, and I think it probably helps that you're East Coast and he's West Coast, so you got both time zones kind of like covered there. So that works out perfectly. So, one thing I wanted to ask you about, and it goes back to your background. So what was it that made you want to get into game development or say, hey, I want to make a career out of video games? Do you remember like playing something that said, oh, this is it. This is what I gotta hear
this. Yeah. Let's hear it. What is it?
It was, I was a late bloomer to it.
Okay.
So I played in 2009, or it was right after I got married. I got married in 2010. So right around, it was like that era. I played Dragon Age Origins for the first time.
Ooh, nice. That's a good game.
I love that game. And when I'm playing RPGs like that, like especially for the first time, I play what I call like the truest person of what I want to be. So I play like this altruistic, usually human. So for Dragon Age, it's a human noble, like just doing my best to save everybody I can, self-sacrificial.
You're the hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And loved it, and got done and looked at the and loved every second of it. Got done. I looked at the, well, there's one quest I can spoil quests, right? In a 10-year-old game. That's
go for it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 10 years old.
Spoiler alert on Dragon Age, guys.
Dragon Age Origins by now, you're missing out. Like, you need to get on that.
But there's one quest in there where you head over to the keep, the Red Cliff Keep, and the guy is under sick. The Lord of the Keep, who you need to ask for an alliance, is sick, and you come to understand that sickness is caused by a demon, and then you find out that the demon is actually possessing his child, and so you basically come down and say, you have to go into the child, like you either have to kill the child to destroy the demon, or you have to go into the child's like mind kind of thing and destroy the demon inside his mind. But in order to do that, you have to sacrifice somebody. Like you have to use blood magic. And the wife volunteers. So I had this moral choice of, do I kill the son or do I kill the wife? And I probably I stopped playing for about 30 minutes, just sat there thinking about it because I just got married too.
I refuse to decide. I'm not making a decision. They're both living.
So I end up deciding to kill the wife, and the first thing that
sounds so terrible.
That's what games do to you, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Oh man.
So I end up killing the wife, and the first thing that the husband says, when the Lord says when he gets out, is, "Where's my wife?" And like my heart just went, oh, it's like crushed, and I was like, I didn't want to play anymore. Anyway, I got done with my first playthrough, and I started playing through my second. Like, this is the only game I've ever played through back to back. And I decided to be a city elf, and the elves in that game are downtrodden, lower class, and all that type of thing. And the city elf story starts off with you as you have an arranged marriage, and this person is coming over to get married to you, and right as on your wedding day, the lord of the city that you're in comes and declares it the rite of prima nocte and takes my bride away from me. Again, I just got married.
Oh God.
I've never felt fury towards a character in a game before.
Mm-hmm.
Like never. So I went through and I murdered every single person in that castle. Like I was like, you will give it. I'm not trying to like save anybody. I'm just going to destroy them.
Well, so much for the hero. All right.
Well, but it was amazing how that hour and a half, the setting at an hour and a half, because the rest of the game, if there was an opportunity for me to, like, if I sided with a human or against a human, I would side against the human. Whereas before I took everything as kind of a judicial justice, fairness approach. And this, I was like, no, I'm always siding against the human. And it was really the experience I had of just an hour and a half shaping the entire storyline was incredible to me. So I went home after finishing. I was working as a web developer at the time. I was like, I want to create something that causes other people to experience similar. So I went home, started trying to make my own game. I was working in PHP, so I tried to learn, like, do C++, and got into all sorts of trouble. I had no clue what I was doing because I was self-taught.
Yep.
So I basically went to the wife and said, I want to go make games. I'm going back. Like, let's just figure it out if I can go back to school. Went and got my bachelor's in computer science, and then got lucky enough to get into at Carbine Studios after that.
Now it's safe to say you do know what you're doing now with
the community or engineering.
Well, both, I guess. Engineering mainly, yeah.
A little. I haven't coded in a while. I've been working on like dicking around with a couple stuff, but it's been a little bit.
I hear you too. Like, I think I always tell people the game that made me fall in love with video games was Final Fantasy X when I first loaded it up and played it. That Blitzball Arena part of it.
Oh yeah,
like, the music is so bomb. But I agree 100%. I think that, like, when you look at entertainment, because I don't know if you know, but video games sell way more than movies now, right? The feeling that you get, like, when you're in a game, like, you don't get that in a movie. Like, a really good movie, you might get a similar feeling, but you're, like, in the game. You're 100% invested emotionally, and just everything about you is in that game. Like, Drake's Uncharted comes to mind. Mm-hmm. That was playing through a movie. You were in the movie, you were Drake, and you felt everything happen in there. So that's awesome that you use that as an example. I think Dragon Age is obviously a great game as well. So cool. Good answer, man. Good answer. I like it. So, all right. So let's get back into Orb Rivals. Some questions that we had here. So first and foremost, most importantly, which is probably what most people want to hear, when is it releasing? When is there like a beta release or more early access? And what platforms? And actually, I'll save the last one for after you answer those.
Yeah. So we'll start with the platform question first, since we're basically a one-man development studio. We contracted out some artwork and stuff like that. And me doing community stuff. So we have a bottleneck of stalefish is really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
We are in the process of updating the gameplay based off of feedback from PAX players, honestly, that came and joined the alpha. Then we have a regular group of probably about 15 to 20 people who play a couple times a week and test out these things for us competitively. We have a summer league going and all that type of thing. Mm-hmm. So for when it gets released, the goal was if things went well at PAX, which they did go really well, the goal was to try and release it before the end of the year. Probably not going to happen now because after feedback and stuff like that, we really want to get the core game loop like just feeling so good for new players and old players alike. And then we're relying on or waiting for to get into beta. I'm going to go a little bit software engineer at this point, but alpha is kind of like core stuff. You're still working on a lot of core systems. To get into a beta for us is all the core systems are in place. And then we just tweaking stuff like this, like core systems, and then we'll tweak like maybe ball speed or foot speed or something like that. So to get into beta, the biggest thing we need is matchmaking, like to have a matchmaking where you can come in, you click play, and within 30 seconds you have somebody. That's when I think we can say, okay, beta's open.
The dreaded matchmaking. Everybody praying, fingers crossed that there's low queue times, right?
Right.
League of Legends comes to mind. Oh man, do you play League of Legends?
I have not in probably 7 years.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah,
it's probably for the
I
best.
agree. Probably for the best.
I got tired of the constant updates where I was like playing something and then like 2 weeks later, like a little value would change. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're constantly, there's a patch every 2 weeks, I think, with that game.
It's just,
it's definitely, Riot is very hands-on, I guess. Let's put it that way.
Which is like, it's a good thing and a bad thing. I think there's a lot of pros and cons to that strategy.
And actually, that's something I think we're touching on a little bit later too, in one of the questions that we have. But before we get into that, I wanted to, and this is if you can even, I highly doubt you can say anything about it, but do we know anything about a relative price point, like plus or minus $20, or is it free, or do we know?
We're not going to say yet.
Okay.
The goal for us is to make it as affordable as possible while keeping the lights on. And you know how we're not secretive about like the size of the studio or anything like that. So it's not a whole lot to keep, one person full-time employed and then one person part-time employed and then contract work. But that's the goal, is because we want to be just as many people as possible to play it. Get those queue times low.
Yeah, with that being said, actually, have you guys looked into maybe sourcing some interns or people who want to learn how to get into it to try to help out a little bit? It's kind of
it's a great question. We have actually a couple of the people who've been playing have reached out. They have like a senior employment project through their school.
Okay.
And they reached out and said, "Hey, I literally cannot be paid for this. Can I do anything?" And
I promise I don't want money.
It's part of their credit for to graduate.
Yeah.
And so Stalefish was working with them. I don't know how it worked out, but he definitely worked with them.
Cool.
So if you're interested in something like that, basically, if we can get as many people, the community helping out as much as possible, I'm all for that. And obviously it has to hit certain quality standards, but yeah.
Of course. Yeah. No, I think it's just one of those things where if somebody's trying to gain some traction in the world and put something on their resume, it can help them out and stuff, especially when he's one man, doing a lot of the stuff. If he gets help from other places where other people can benefit, I think it just benefits everyone overall. So it's good to know.
I just realized, hold on. I just realized I didn't answer the platform question.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait. What did we ask again? All right,
yeah. Steam is going to be where it starts off.
Okay.
And then once we get it released on Steam, the plan is to bring it to consoles, whatever consoles are out there at the time. We're developing on UE4, so the port should be relatively simple. Unreal Engine is fantastic for that type of thing.
Did you see the demo for 5?
I did.
Ooh, it
looks really nice.
It does look beautiful.
The ripples in the water. It's just so nice, man.
You get to see that robot sweat when
Wait, so you're telling me you're not going to have your own UI like of a store to buy the game, right? Or to download the game. It's going to be on Steam.
It'll be on Steam.
Okay. Just want to clarify that for Joe there. I know we were talking about
that's for you because he's talking about launchers and it's like, well, we got to get the Epic Game Store launcher, we got to get the Steam launcher.
Like 7 launchers on my computer. Like I don't want another one.
we started off with, because it costs a little bit of money to put something on Steam.
Oh sure.
Even if you're just going to put it through beta. So we started off putting it through Discord, and the amount of time I spent just trying to make sure that people understood that Discord
How to
even
do it.
has a game launcher and how to do it, and like we had to step by step with like pictures and everything. It's like,
Of course.
now Steam is, we're going to release it on Steam eventually. No reason not just use it for testing.
Yeah, in a perfect world, Discord and Steam would like just merge together and do one. That would be amazing. So all right, so now what game modes can we expect from this game as of now, or I guess upon final release? What are you guys aiming for?
That's a good question. I know we'll have a ranked thing, and we'll have like just a jump in and normal. I'm not sure. Remember exactly
Like a quick play, maybe
like a quick play kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's normal. I think you're right. It's called normal and then ranked, I think.
So we'll definitely have those two. Probably some sort of way of private service so we can have tournaments, like private join match, guess custom game. And then the plan is down the road is to introduce a similar to what Rocket League has with their like level, like where you progressively get harder. It's single player, but you progressively get harder and harder tasks to complete. I think that would be a goal that we have, just to as a way for people to build skill without necessarily playing. So those are probably the four main ones. I don't know Stalefish's mind on things like low gravity or allowing for like server variables to change.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions, obviously, because Rocket League's got all these crazy different game types. But or go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sure he would love to do something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't think it's a priority. You know, I think getting ranked out there, right, would probably be the
right.
most. Now, and actually, with that, so are you guys primarily focusing on more of like a competitive scene for this game? Is that kind of the goal ultimately?
I mean, we're focusing on just trying to make it as fun as possible. And we see competition rising out of that.
Now, so with that said, with the competitive side, are we going to see any sort of spectator mode when the game releases?
There already is.
Aha! Wow!
Look at that! Okay. Look at that! You're not in on it.
I know, right? I cast Legends of Runeterra, and the biggest thing for that game, it's a Riot-made game, and there's still no spectator mode, and it's hugely popular, and everybody's like, "Why? Just give me the spectator mode."
Yeah. So the one thing we don't have right now, I think we could easily put it in, but we don't have controlled camera by the spectator at the moment.
Oh. Okay.
So there's an automatic spectator just following the ball. If you watched at PAX and you watched like the big screen, that was basically what it is. And it's what I use to cast the Summer League games.
Okay.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Actually, I have a question. I'm going to jump in on you because I have a question that's relevant to the game modes real quick. So, and I've never really understood this, and maybe this is more a question that Stalefish would be able to answer. But I've seen in a lot of the competitive multiplayer games only, there's really no single player area to kind of hone your skills in some of the games. Are you guys going to be thinking about offering something like that, almost like a practice, but against AI opponents or anything to that nature?
We already have like a way to play against bots, though they're broken on the new map because of some sort of nav issue. And I have been pushing for kind of like we'll say like a skill level kind of thing where, you know, say you say I want to practice like intercepting passes kind of thing.
Sure.
So you'd have basically I would put like a cannon that just like fires off orbs, and then like level 1's very easy, level 2 and just get better, like more and more stuff like that, or it's a different map. And so that's my desire for it, and I think Stalefish is on board with that. Just that's something that's on the back burner.
Yeah. And the other thing that I was thinking about too, if that wasn't going to be the case, doing something like a practice while you're queuing. So if there is a little bit of a longer queue time, being able to play a little bit, even if it's by yourself, or like you said, where they're like firing, you can pick stuff. Just because the one thing that has always frustrated me when playing these types of games that have longer queue times, especially when you're a lower rank. I don't know if you've ever played it, but a game like Dead by Daylight comes to mind, where it's a 4v1 game, especially if you're the killer and you're low ranked. You're sitting in a queue for 5, maybe 10 minutes, and the game's wildly popular. There's tons of people playing it, and yet it takes forever to get in a queue because you're so low ranked, but you can't do anything but stare at the screen waiting for it to happen. Having some type of interaction, not to say that your queues would ever get that long, but if there ever were that possibility, you have something to do while you're waiting.
Yes,
So,
I completely agree. I think Rocket League has something like that.
They do.
yeah.
Mhm.
But it reminds me of the time, I think this was early on in League of Legends, like streaming, like when pros were streaming it,
Yep.
and their queues would be like 45 minutes, and so they started playing Hearthstone on stream.
Yeah, on
and
the side,
and then
yeah.
and then Riot got mad at them.
Yeah. Well, Riot, fix your game. Maybe we wouldn't play.
Yeah, right?
It's like,
Get your
Like
matchups
you never
better.
you never want to have that happen where you're sitting there like, well, I just want to play the game, but I guess I'll play this other game while I'm waiting for your game.
And it stinks too because you go into somebody's stream where it says League of Legends is what they're playing, and then you're like, wait, this isn't what I signed up for. What
Right,
is
right.
this? But it's okay. Your queue time's only going to be 5 seconds anyway, so we won't even need to worry about that. Right?
Exactly.
I like to get on the 5-second thing. That's probably going to be our biggest hurdle, is because there's a certain amount, like oh man, I'm just blanked on the term, but there's a certain amount of users that you have to have in order to cross that threshold.
Oh,
Because
gotcha.
like we need to have a certain number of users
Yeah.
active playing in order to get that queue time down so that people keep on playing. Because if you don't
Right,
have that,
exactly.
people, if you click play and you're not in a game in 10 minutes, the game's not going to last very long.
Yeah, and it's the reason why I don't stream Dead by Daylight as much anymore, is because of the fact that like I don't have time to play it all the time, and I'm not a crazy like champion like some of these other people are with these games. So having long queue times, especially when you're an upstart streamer and you're not seeing action and you're just sitting there talking about the game, waiting for it to come on, it gets really discouraging. So it's really important that at the very worst you have something that people can interact with while we're waiting for the queue to go through. So that's cool.
Awesome. So, not to harp on competitive play too much here, but it
No,
was
please.
another question that we had.
No, he loves that. So
well,
be
I
careful.
love. Yeah. Well, I mean, I cast,
do.
so I love competitive.
Yeah,
play,
no,
yeah.
yeah.
Because ultimately, at the end, I think Ninja tweeted something at some point, like if you're not getting mad when you lose a game, like then you don't really love the game, right? And
Yeah, he got so much flack for that.
Yeah, he really did. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, the guy's just telling the truth. Like people get pissed because they're competitive, they want to play the game. So, so I agree with Ninja. But anyways, I know you mentioned you snuck it in there that there's kind of like a league in alpha right now that you guys are playing around with.
Yeah.
What's that like? How can people get involved? And what's the plans on either beta release or full launch for? Are there any plans for a tournament structure or any sort of league on launch?
So I'll give you a little history on Orb Rivals tournaments. The very first one was at PAX, where people after playing the game, we had so many repeat people coming back, which is
awesome.
I've never had that happen at PAX. Like I've hosted, like run booths for PAX a couple different times for different games. Never have had people
so
come
much
back.
to do there,
right?
Yep.
And especially not as a small thing like that. But I think we benefited from our like you get 6 people in at a time, and like the games only lasted at most 15 minutes. So it's like it was easy to get people in and out. But so many people kept coming back that they basically demanded a tournament. And so I had to figure out how to run a tournament, how to like what I was going to use to put in the brackets, like how I was going to do everything. For like that was, and then we actually had a little cash prize too, which probably technically against the law. I don't know.
Oh,
Am I implicating?
I've said that on podcast.
No,
it's fine. I don't think anybody knows about it. The $20 grand prize that we
right.
Exactly.
So we had to look a little bit thing, and then one team got to be considered the best Orb Rivals team in the world, which is kind of cool. And then after we got back, a lot of those players, especially the tournament players, joined the Discord. And they played a couple times, and I was like, "Oh, hey, maybe we should do like a league, an alpha league." So I had like a 10-week alpha league. We had 35, 36 people, so I think we had 8 teams. Probably 25 people. So 8 teams signed up for it, and a couple of them fell out and all that type of thing. And then we had a big giant tournament that you can find on our YouTube channel, which is not called Orb Rivals because I only have 2 subscribers, so
you don't want that negative publicity.
I don't know how. Like I have to get like 10 subscribers to get like a custom URL or something.
You need 100. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. 100. Okay.
And so I'm not sure exactly how to promote. I'll put on like our Twitter or something like that. But all the games are up for our tournament, and then we then Team Invade won. They were one of the PAX teams, and they won the tournament. And then a couple of them have just joined because they were in the Discord already and joined together. They're old Tribes football players in there. So then we decided to we wanted to up the ante a little bit and encourage more people to play, more people to start following different teams. Kind of creating that fan esports kind of thing. So I kind of became league commissioner somehow, and now I'm running a summer league, and we have like the rules placed on the web or posted on the website.
Nice.
There's going to be a cash prize for winning it. This I think $300 is going to be the winner. Nice. And just seeing, basically the whole point is to just promote it by showing people playing the game, competitive play, and like the game is fun without being competitive. But I do think that the opportunity we have to encourage players like that to come and participate in the community is a good thing. So we've been running. This is our second league. We'll probably take a break. I think the championship tournament is going to be early August, and then we'll take like a month break. Then we'll have a fall league, and basically I want to have like 2 or 3 leagues a year, depending on the number of teams.
Cool.
Awesome. And so if you're, like you said, you cast some Legends of Runeterra, always looking for people to either co-cast or cast individually, because I can't necessarily get all the games. So
I mean, I think that we've been kind of a good tag team, so we probably would have a little fun with doing some casting. And I've watched enough sporting in my time to kind of know how to cast, and at least know how to present it. So
we
he casts all the time
too.
And
that's the thing. So, that's what really
that's what drew it
about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And, so I'm definitely interested in possibly helping out with that. Joe
Absolutely.
and myself, maybe we can cast some games, and that would be a blast. Also, for anybody listening too, you mentioned the Discord, so I'll actually plug it for you.
Oh, thank you.
It will be below, because we usually put this up as a YouTube video as well, so it'll be below in the description, and we'll also put it in the description of the podcast for you. So if anybody is interested in grabbing an alpha code, like Jordan, that was really hard. That was hard.
Yeah,
like it's in my head.
I was waiting for him to mess it up. I was totally waiting for him to be like, and Jordan.
Just call me Jarnon, honestly.
Okay, yeah.
Jarnot
is your name on Discord. But definitely hit up the Discord channel. They'll be able to give you some alpha codes and get you involved in the league and the tournament too. So.
And it's not too late to join the summer league at this point. You'll join in as basically the worst team, because but we do it based off of goal differential too. Okay. So nice. If you win your next game and have a better goal differential than the worst team, you can easily climb up. And it's not like you're going to miss the end of season tournament for having the worst record. It's just who you play.
Awesome. Nice. Awesome. And I know we asked this earlier too. I swear, I think this is like the last competitive based question. So real quick, do you like the patch every 2 weeks idea? Is that something that you guys would be doing, or are you more hands off, just make the game and run with it?
I have no idea what Stalefish wants to do. Yeah. I know we are in the process of doing a patch right now that's going to change controls, not exactly controls, but like how your
physics
boost
stuff.
Sensitive,
like it's like speeding up the ball and speeding up the passing, like the how fast your passing gauge charges.
Gotcha.
How much you get a boost when you use your boost and all that type, like little tweaks like that.
Gotcha.
However, I do know that we will not change it unless it's a game breaking bug. In the middle of the season. So we'll have a separate branch for the competitive league, and say basically that league, like, think of it kind of like the old build. That's what's like, we have a solid build. This is what the league's going to be played on. Any changes that happen won't happen until the season ends.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So it doesn't change how people could play, because somebody else might get a better advantage,
right?
Depending on the changes you make. Based off of this, and I know this is like we're asking some future questions, and I hope we can have you on again as the game grows and evolves into something different. Because what we're talking about right now might be different in 6 months. Because just the way the community interacted with Stalefish and you and the ideas that come about. But I know it's kind of too early, but it goes to patches and things of that nature, updates, changes to the game in regards to like DLC stuff like that. Do you guys see that being something that you want to get into down the road if this becomes the success you hope it to be, that you guys can do? Oh, well, actually, it's more because of the fact that looking at your background and the fact that you started off with the free to play type game, and you're probably going to be going into a game that is going to have a price point, and then you're going to probably have some add-ons and things like that maybe down the future. Is that something you guys are looking forward to, like getting DLC and getting add-ons and customizations?
I don't know about DLC or add-ons. I think it'll be cool. Like I've seen some of the things that Rocket League does, and I think that that's brilliant. I know that we have plans for armor customization, so you will be able to customize your robot, and there'll be a base thing, like a base robot, and then some things that you earn, like Rocket League. Also, things you can buy to customize your guy. I want to allow for the ability to put, Spring League Alpha Champion or something like that, like unique things that you earned through the game, whether it's through competitive play or just dedication or beating the single player tutorial kind of thing, like little things, because I think that like earning something like that is so important. And if we like let someone earn it and someone else buy it, that's when you start spelling the death.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go the amount, the route of customization through purchases, it just has to be unique stuff that doesn't show off something that you could actually earn. Because I think, going back to the whole point of this is a one-man studio and he's getting people to help part-time and stuff like that, I think those microtransactions that don't affect the gameplay but just affect the way you look in cosmetics are going to be so important for him to be able to build a little bit of a nest egg to be able to grow the game in other ways, because he's getting this ancillary income from, whether it be different types of shapes for the shoulder pads or the helmets or the legs or whatever the case may be. Because I know I'm kind of hardcore into that myself. Like I'll buy, if it looks cool enough and it's like $2 or something, I'll probably spend the $2 to be like, oh, I'll get those cool shoulder pads because they have the spikes on them. Yeah, but that's the thing too. Yeah. I mean, it's really consumer psychology. If you put it at a lower price point, people are gonna be like 99 cents, $1.99, no big deal. You know what I mean? Because people just think of it like that, like small transactions.
Well, I'll tell you too. I've played League of Legends since 2009. I swore to myself, never would I ever spend money on this game, and lo and behold, 10 years later, I'm spending $40 to get some Riot points just so I can buy this stupid freaking skin that I'm just like, it looks so cool, I need to have it. So, I mean, at some point they get you, but honestly, I don't even have a problem spending the money at that point with a free game, because I'm like, this game has provided so much fun and entertainment for me for $0. I'm like, I will gladly give you $40 of my money to get the game how I look or how I want.
But to that,
as long as it doesn't affect gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, you don't want pay to win. That's definitely something you don't want. But I mean, even spending money on a game, you can still like get into customization, because if you get enamored with a game and it becomes like part of you in a sense, which a lot of games can do, you're going to want to spend that money anyways, whether you spent 20, 40, 15, $10, doesn't matter. You just want to have something cool to show off and to be, especially in a competitive area. Oh man, people want to look as badass as possible when they're winning. So,
I my dream, and I kind of told Stalefish this, but my dream with it is to have the ability to customize, like allow for uniforms for esports teams. Because have it, but then also allow them put their sponsors on their robot.
Huge.
Like you could put like a Corsair thing, or
like you'd be talking about soccer, basically. Like you do that in
like
soccer and stuff, where they have that. That's amazing.
That's what attracted me so much to this game. It's so, because I feel like a lot of people still don't take esports 100% seriously. Which, I get it to a point, but I think if we're able to find that game that is able to be such a blur between real sports and esports that it will convince those last people that need to be convinced, like, no, this can be a legit sport. And to your point, if you're getting jerseys with sponsors on them, it's going to click in some people's heads like, oh my God, this is the same thing.
Mhm.
It's just you're using a controller instead of your real body. Like, it's,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's why I like this game so much as far as the competitive space is concerned right now.
And going to that point too, tournaments, right? So at some point, if you get big enough, you can actually have sponsors sponsoring the tournaments, like some of the places do now. So it's definitely something where like
we could
get,
easily put a decal on an arena.
Yeah, exactly. But like
exactly.
Mountain Dew presents Orb
Yeah,
Rivals. I don't know.
Just call it American Airlines Arena, right?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's a pretty cool idea too. If you
That
get
is a
that
good
big,
idea.
is like you could have like arenas for like
Yep.
teams that are like ingratiated in it and actually have like a team stuff. I mean, that's like thinking so
that's
crazy
that's 5
ahead,
years
but
from
like
now, right?
that's
Yeah,
the type of thing that these games do to you,
Um,
though. It makes you like, especially these upstart games, like you can create anything you want if you really think about it. There's so much you can do with it, and I think that's the beauty of it. And especially like with someone like Stalefish just thinking outside the box and saying, how can I make this like so out there? And I think right now you have such a great base for it that it's exciting.
We just need some more people.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
Well, and that's exactly why we're doing this. You know, we 100% want to get involved in the community with Orb Rivals. I think what you guys have here is a pretty awesome game, to be honest with you. And I just, one thing I did want to add, League of Legends does already play their games in like the LA Lakers stadium. So
I think they do. Yes.
We're getting to that point. Like, it's slowly but surely, you know.
Yeah.
So all right, so now back to you a little bit. What are you doing as the community manager right now to really get the game out there, to build the community up? What are some of the things you're looking for, maybe a potential listener to do? What are you doing right now?
So I guess I come a little bit more old school. I'm my social media. I was thinking they're just printing a book and just handing. No.
Oh, okay. Pamphlets, yeah.
Handwritten letters.
So when I left the games industry, I moved into working as a real estate agent with my wife. And I got to we basically ran our own business for a couple of years out in California before we moved out to Tennessee. And I got to experience firsthand like the difference between commodity and relationship building in terms of a business. And commodity is basically, can you beat the price, right? Like this product A, product B, which is better and what's the price point kind of thing. Whereas relationship, so we got to know our clients, we got to ask them all sorts of questions, and so we actually didn't show them as many houses as other agents would, because as we got to know them, we would spend like the extra legwork building a relationship and then go and say, well, not just that, we got to know them, so we understood what they wanted. So we would go and say, oh, hey, we came across this home that in a area that you're not even looking at that we think you would love. Why don't we go take a look, kind of thing. Gotcha. Versus, hey, there are 50 homes that meet your criteria. We're going to go and bang out each one over the course of a weekend. So I've done that. One of the benefits in terms of community building has been meeting each person on a more individual level, and it's going to be more difficult as the community grows. But that's the goal. That's kind of the build people, talk to them in Discord, shit talk with them in Discord. Like I see all these things about toxicity and community management and stuff like that. And I
use that word.
Sorry. Is that one of the banned ones?
I'm having League of Legends flashbacks again.
Oh, okay. but you have like this toxicity towards community managers online and all that type of thing. And I ran the community for Rend and Frostkeep. I was part of the community for WildStar. I'm running this community, and yeah, you get some people who are just trolls. Like they just want you to react, and you just kind of like
Reddit.
here's the door kind of thing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But most of the toxicity that happens is passion unfocused, right? So you have the passion for a game. People are angry maybe about a change you made, but they don't understand because they don't feel like their needs have been taken into consideration. Mm-hmm. And it's similar with buyers and sellers when you're working in real estate. Like if I'm not communicating with them, if I'm not like helping them, reaching out to them on an individual level, like they're going to sit there, and if I make a mistake, they're going to drop me in a moment's notice, drop me in a second. Right. So in the terms of the Discord and community, that's the kind of the community we're trying to build, is one that can shit talk each other a little bit, enjoy that without getting a little bit of happy, I don't know, happy competitiveness, like excited to see the other people grow and get better. But when you get out there and you play against each other, you want them to just beat the crap out of each other.
Yep.
And in terms of social media, I'm still learning a lot about video editing.
Me too.
Content creation.
Yeah.
Probably my biggest my claim to fame, I guess, has been our TikTok account.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh wow,
that's a good one.
Like we gained probably 500 people in a month off of one video on TikTok.
Yeah, that's good.
And then it's been cooled down since then. But it's just, if I now with the baby, it's hard for me to necessarily keep on top of everything. Mm-hmm. But that's the goal, is to build it, but just showing people, like both Stalefish's and I's passion for it. The community, like we've already had some people making fan art.
That's awesome.
Nice. And then just basically showing people the game. That's what it is about. Because I don't want a bunch of people coming in that are like looking for a free handout kind of thing. I want people to come in that, what's the term? Yeah, the terminology the analogy I've always heard was two people, or a guy goes up to fish in Alaska, sees a bunch of salmon like jumping, right? And so he pulls out a fishing line, starts trying to fish. And so he's trying to fish, trying to reel him in, get the right bait and all that type of thing. And he looks over, and there's a bear just sitting there with his mouth open, and the fish just jump into it. It's like, I want to be the bear. I want to be the someone who, the game that the fish wants to jump in and participate and get eaten by me,
Yeah.
No, honestly, the analogy kind of breaks down a little bit.
I got where you were trying to throw down there. It's cool. I agree 100% though with the community. I mean, I've been, I mentioned Legends of Runeterra. That's a game that I've been pretty focused on with the community and helping build that. And same mentality, right? Everybody wants to help each other out. At the end of the day, it's just, everybody wants like that Pokemon rivalry, right? Like you have your rival at the beginning of the game. You guys hate each other when you're battling, but at the end of the day, you're pushing each other to be better.
Exactly.
And that's, I 100% understand where you're coming from with that. So that's awesome that's the approach that you guys are taking, that you're taking to build a community. And shout out to using TikTok, because it's definitely the platform of choice right now. I think it might go the way of Vine personally. It's very similar, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I tried it too. It's crazy. You could just post something up on there and get like 2,000 views, and it's the stupidest. Like you don't even know why you made the video.
I think one of our videos got 300,000 views.
Yeah,
just
that's
bam.
crazy.
I was like, what? Nice. And then the rest of them get like 2,000.
Yeah. All right, cool. So getting towards the end here, just the last couple of questions to finish this out. I personally wanted to know, was there a feature in the game that you guys that was in the game that got axed before it went to alpha? Like, oh, it'd be cool if we could do this. Like, I think right now you can hover with the ball, right? But you can't just like straight up fly with the ball somehow.
You can jump with it.
You could jump, but I mean like straight fly, like fly around with the ball. Was there? I mean, that's a really extreme example.
Yeah.
But is there something that was in the game like that you guys decided, nah, this isn't a right fit for the game? It probably wouldn't work with what we're trying to accomplish.
We've been doing a lot of like testing different little things out, but it's mostly since we have the core design based off of the Tribes football mod, it's very little are we actually changing from that. So in terms of like a major feature, I don't think that there has been one. It's been he's pretty much had a design document in his head for 15 years until he put it together, and now it's just okay. Now I have to implement and tweak.
No, that's good. It means he has a very clear vision then of what the game should be, and
Yep.
that gives me confidence that the game will actually succeed. Because usually when you're not clear, you're trying to go down two different paths.
Yeah.
At some point, something goes wrong. So
You try to please everyone, you can't please anyone.
Yeah,
can't
me.
be muddled for sure.
Yeah.
It's got to be
All right, so to kind of end it off here, for anybody who's listening or anybody who is watching the YouTube video online, what type of people are gonna like Orb Rivals, and what games are they currently playing? I can think of the obvious game right now that everybody's
We've mentioned
playing
it.
They'd be interested. Yeah, we've already mentioned it. But what type of people are gonna enjoy this game, and who should check it out and go to the Discord?
I think that once we get custom games in, this is going to be a perfect game for friends, like a LAN party, to sit there and just have a 3v3 game going at it. Like, I can see that if we could figure out a way to do split screen, and like you could have like two things
Local.
set up, and like just have like, I think that could be a brilliant couch co-op, not competitive, but couch co-op kind of thing, where you play against your friends and stuff like that. But ultimately, I mean, Rocket League players, I think that Rocket League players that want, we'll say, a little bit more control and possession of the ball, it will be a little bit less crazy, amazing. I think we'll see less individual skill players and more team-based tactics.
That's cool.
So part of the issue with that, though, is obviously as we go into like ranked play, there's going to be a lot of like solo queuing issues.
I was just gonna say solo queue hell now. Now you're bringing me again back to League of Legends.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't I just carry the game? My team is terrible.
You got a 1v9, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
like I would say competitive people, but we've had people that honestly like wouldn't consider themselves highly skilled video game players. They come in and play it for a couple weeks. Some from my guild in World of Warcraft came in and played, and the first thing they said was like, "This game is just awesome. Like, I have so much fun playing it. I'm not going to be the best player. I'm not going to be like, but it's just, this is a game that I know that I can pick up and I will have fun playing." And so basically, if you enjoy any sport, and like, you're gonna enjoy playing this, because it brings a lot of, like, I played basketball growing up, and the strategies that I use are basketball, like pump faking, you know, juking somebody out and then driving and dishing kind of thing.
Yep.
Like, so if you have any experience playing or watching sports, or especially playing any sport type games, where you control one individual player, I think this is the game for you.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. And like I said, I am going to go ahead and leave a Discord link in the description of the podcast as well as the video. So hopefully you'll get some new people in your league after they see this video. But it's been a blast, man. Honestly, talking to you, getting to know you a little bit. No Orb Rivals. Joe, I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to ask him real quick on your mind?
You know what? I do actually, and it is a personal question. It's probably going to divide some of our listeners, but you just mentioned World of Warcraft.
Oh, God. Why do you have to do this, Joe?
Because you want to know what? We're trying to learn everything about people. So. All right. I need to know Hoarder Alliance, race, and what you are you like what are you in World of Warcraft? I need to know.
So I'll start off by saying I only play Classic. I don't play
Okay. All
retail.
right. Okay.
Oh, okay. That's all right. I can appreciate that. Yeah, that's cool.
And I am a human warrior.
Okay.
Alliance for the win.
All right, you got Joe on your team.
For the Alliance.
The listeners.
Yeah, for the Alliance. Well, I'm a paladin.
Okay.
And so I was always I love the paladin because it's like a mixture of healing and hurting, I like to say. So but back in Classic, you couldn't be a paladin on Horde anyways.
That's right.
So that's my deal. So we've just pissed off a lot of people who think Horde is the only way to play.
I'm the main tank for my guild.
Nice.
So got Thunder Fury and everything. I never expected it when I started playing Classic again. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Really?
All right. Well, that's all I have. So
actually, really random question. And Joe, actually, I don't even think I've asked you this. Is anybody as excited for Age of Empires 4 as I am?
I didn't even
Did
know it was
anybody
coming
play
out.
that? You,
I mean,
you did,
I
yeah,
think
no,
they're-
they're making it. I don't know when it's coming out,
Oh.
but yeah, they're making it. I love
Age of
me some
Empires
good
3
RTS
was
games.
such a disappointment for me, though.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest.
And so it's like, so two's still the go-to. If I want to play Age of Empires, I go back to 2.
yeah,
You
that's
just
like,
you just
isn't that the
deflated 'em.
one? I think that's the one they made the HD edition for
Mhm.
when they
Yep.
relaunched it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and now we're seeing a lot of competitive play with that pop back up.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody's super AoE 4. It's like, oh man, this is going to be great. It's going to be like StarCraft on steroids. Let's get it.
The competitive play on Age of Empires 2 is ridiculous. Like the things that they do, like sending a scout and trying killing all the villagers and like walling people in. I'm just like, I watch it and I'm like, this is stuff that I never would have thought of. My whole thing is rush to castle and then build as many conquistadors as possible.
my brain stops at Zergling Rush. Like that's my strategy, and I don't know anything past that. So, all right. So yeah, again, awesome time with you, Jordan. Anybody you want to give like a shout out or anything to? Anything?
I definitely no. Let me see. I would say that if you go to Twitch and our Orb Rivals thing, we are trying to cast weekly league games when the team captains coordinate properly so that I can actually be there for it. But a big shout out to David Talley / Stalefish. Like the guy is a genius. Like I wouldn't be back in the games industry if he hadn't asked me to. Like I was done. Like the games are coming out, I didn't want to play them, and he came and said, "Hey, try my game, and if you like it," and he's just a brilliant guy who deserves all the praise.
Cool. Awesome.
Stalefish for the win.
Stalefish, David Talley.
And he was awesome when we met him at PAX too.
Yeah.
I think it was his wife that we also met. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
so
handed
they're
us the pen. Yep, she's the one who gave us the pen.
people.
Yep.
So. All right. Well, with that
All right.
said, that's it for the podcast. So thank
Yes.
you everybody for listening. I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys are going to be at the Discord for Orb Rivals. Hopefully I'll be helping out casting. Who knows? This will be pretty fun for everybody involved. So, but until next time, everybody have a great rest of the week after listening to this podcast.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming aboard.
Oh, I had a great time.
Thank you.